Hey folks, welcome to my channel Number Pen. So there we have the problem on the screen. Integrate the following with respect to x. We have square root of 6 minus x times x minus 4. So what we've been given is dy by dx and we've been asked to find y. My y is nothing but integral of the given expression, and so let's write our y. So that's my y. I see that my y is not in a very simple format whose antiderivative I know from first principles. But then what I see is that I have a product of two linear functions. And what's the product of two linear functions? It's nothing but a quadratic function, right? So I'm talking about the expression inside the square root. So what I will do right now is I'll keep y aside and I'm just going to pick up the expression what we have inside the square root, right? And expand this and then rearrange it to bring it to the format square root of x square plus or minus a square, or it is a square minus x square, right? So I repeat it. So the way we're going to do this is arrive at the quadratic expression and then rework the quadratic expression to bring it to a format x square plus or minus a square, or a square minus x square, right? So what we have is 6 minus x times x minus 4. So what's that? 6x minus 24 minus x square plus 4x, right? So our quadratic expression is minus x square. I can combine the 6x and the 4x plus 10x minus 24, right? So this is our quadratic expression. And in step 2, what do I do is I remember the formula a minus b the whole square equals a square plus b square minus 2ab, right? So what I do, I pull out the minus and then I rewrite the expression as x square minus 10x. I'm talking about the first two parts of the quadratic expression, which is your x square term and your x term, right? So what happens is my x square remains as it is, right? And then I get a minus 10x. I'm sorry, I get a minus 10x, and I retain the 24 as it is outside, right? Now what I do with the term inside the bracket is I know that my 10x is nothing but a 2 times 5x, right? And if I connect this with the a minus b the whole square formula, which is nothing but a square plus b square minus 2ab, and remembering that formula, if I want to express this quadratic expression as x plus or minus a the whole square plus or minus b square, right? All that I need to do is add a 25 and subtract a 25. It does not change the expression in any way, right? What happens is the term highlighted in yellow is nothing but your x minus 5 the whole square, right? So what happens is the entire term, which is your 6 minus x times x minus 4, can be rewritten as, right, minus of, remember that the term highlighted in yellow is your x minus 5 the whole square, right? And then the remaining terms are nothing but constants, right? So I have a plus 25 minus 24, and what's that? That's nothing but a 1, right? So after doing the rearrangement, what I get is this particular expression is nothing but a 1 minus x minus 5 the whole square, right? And what is your 1? Your 1 is nothing but 1 square, right? Your 1 is the same as 1 square. So your quadratic expression is nothing but it's a 1 square minus x minus 5 the whole square, right? We can bring y now to the format integral of square root of a square minus x square times dx, right? And how do we do that? I'm going to go back to my y and rewrite my y with what we have arrived at just now, right? So what happens is my y becomes equal to, so in place of 6 minus x times x minus 4, we now have 1 square minus x minus 5 the whole square, right? And remember that we have a square root term as well, right? Now it is quite simple, right? I do the substitution t equals x minus 5, which means my dt equals dx. Now I'll have to go back to my y and represent everything in terms of t, right? So my first part is a 1 square, my second part now becomes a t square, and then my dx becomes a dt, right? So now you see I have neatly reduced it to the format integral of square root of a square minus x square times dx. Just that in place of a you have a 1 and in place of x you have a t. And we know that my integral of square root of a square minus x square times dx is equal to x by 2 times square root of a square minus x square plus a square by 2 times sine inverse of x by a, right? And if you're wondering how did I arrive at this, I've given a link to the particular video in the description, integral of square root of a square minus x square times dx, right? And I request you to take a look at it. And I can also go through all the steps in this particular problem, but it's going to be repetitive, right? And unnecessarily keep the video long. And I want you folks to go through my video integral of square root of a square minus x square times dx to understand how we go about solving these problems using trigonometric substitution, right? So what happens now is I have my integral of square root of 1 square minus t square dt, right? So all that I need to do is replace my x by t and a by 1, right? So let's do that. So there we have post replacement of x with t and a with 1, right? So we have more or less arrived at the final answer for y, but we need to remember that my t is nothing but x minus 5, right? I'm referring to the substitution what we made here, right? So if I were to represent my answer in terms of x, all that I need to do is replace my t with x minus 5. So let's do that. So my y becomes equal to, so there we are, and I will have to remember my constant. In fact, I should have added a constant out here and out here as well. So there we are. The answer to this problem is x minus 5 times square root of 1 minus x minus 5 the whole square plus 1 by 2 times sine inverse of x minus 5 plus c. And I can do one more step here. I mean, some of them would expect it, but still, it is okay not to do it. Just take a look at what we have inside the square root, right? We have a 1 square minus x minus 5 the whole square, which is actually nothing but your 6 minus x into x minus 4, right? And then your second part does not change. You cannot do any further simplification out here. So there we are. Let me highlight my final answer in pink. I hope you found my content useful. Please do subscribe to my channel and support. Thank you.